Howdy Clay 2, how y'all doing? I wanted to give you a quick demo on trimming your off the hump bowls because there's a pretty quick and easy way to do it. So I'm going to focus down here and hopefully my camera will stay in good shape. Oh, that's a little too far back, isn't it? Let's see if I can scoot that up a little bit. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so I have about a pound of clay on here, as you remember what a pound of clay is like from doing your mugs, I hope. And I just centered it up, and I'm going to put a kind of a soft dent in the middle. Doesn't really need to be there, but this is just kind of how I like to do it. And then I'm gonna grab my silver rib, and I'm just gonna scrape off all of the slip. Right? I don't want this soggy. It's pretty good. Okay, now, right, and this is just a way to trim quicker, easier, and because your off the hump bowls are so kind of tiny, it's easy to break those rims, right? When you're putting down wads for your trimming. So I just like how convenient this is. So now I'm just taking a pencil, or you can take your wooden tool, whatever you have handy, and I'm just gonna make a couple of circles on my little cookie. This is just called a cookie. This little thingy on the wheel. And then I'm going to grab one of my little off the hump bowls. Right, so this is in pretty good shape. I do like to check the thickness, just like we did with our large bowls in clay 1. So I'm going through the base until I feel it poke my finger, which there it is, and you can see it just barely comes through. You can just see the little bit of my needle tool, and then I'll mark that on my needle as I pull that out, so I know that I've got about that much thickness, which is about a ½ inch. Clean up that little dot. Okay, so now I've got these circles here on my wheel, or on my cookie, right? So I'm going to line up my pot, right? Most of your little off the humpers are so small that generally the rims and the feet match a little better than they probably did on your clay 1 larger bowls. So I'm pretty close there, but I can also see from the circles that I'm not quite on. Oh, there I'm off a little bit more. Right, so I'm just kind of lining up. You can do this with your fingernail again to see if it's, to see where it's hitting, you know. But anyway, just to get it centered on the cookie. And then, when I'm happy that I have it centered, I just give it a little push. And now I can go ahead and trim, and I don't have to worry about wads because the clay is tough enough to hold on to the foot of that thing. So I'm just going in, making my little outside of the foot. It's holding very nicely. And I'll just go ahead and trim this one since you're on camera, but if you remember how to trim bowls, you should be good. Remember that we like to start on the base and work down instead of coming in from the outside. You guys will find too that your earliest off the humpers will have some pretty jankety feet. So don't forget that a little Sureform tool, this is my little handy one, but you know, we have the yellow ones over on the common shelf. Those are a great way to trim away any of the big nasty stuff. But yeah, I started with the outside of the foot. Now I'm gonna go to the inside of the foot. And Simon Levin's article on crackpots talked about having the center of that foot, especially when they're thrown off the hump, be the thinnest part of the trim, or the thinnest part of the bowl, which is an interesting philosophy. I know that he's used that forever, and it works really well for him. I still find myself edging towards having this be kind of an arched an arched shape on the inside of the foot because I like to know that I'm not going to trim through it. And sometimes if you go flat on the inside of the foot, you can trim through them, which is always a source of frustration. Now I've got that rounded out. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna round this out so that it matches the curvature of the bowl. And if you remember, I had about a 1/2 inch to trim. And so I'm gonna just assume that, yeah, I've trimmed down, well, I haven't trimmed down quite 1/4 inch, right? 1/4 inch is the width of my pinky fingernail. And I haven't gone down quite that far, so I'm gonna give it one more pass. Right, if I trim away 1/4 inch, that means I have 1/4 inch left. There we go, that's pretty good. Okay, and now I'm going to curve this so it has a little bit more of an S shape, which I like. I'm working on my series. Well, I'm actually working on a big series of these, as I have a person who really likes to, this is the woman who I trade bowls for soaps. So that's what I'm using these for, and she likes them to be fairly universal. So all of the ones that I've done previously have this nice kind of S-shaped curve going into the foot. So that's what I'm doing there. Now you can see all these lines. I don't want to trim a bunch more, so I'm going to take my silver rib. Yeah, I should probably zoom this in a little bit, huh? Are you all sitting there watching this going like, come on Al, zoom in on that? Sorry. I'm all by myself in the studio, and I don't have my fancy little holder, but the big takeaway should be the just the cookie and how much easier that makes trimming. So that's what I really wanted to show you. And yeah, I think I'm in pretty good shape. Now, to mark this, right, because we don't have our wads to mark it on, but I'll still sometimes make just a little line on one, maybe 2 parts of, ooh, there. Now I'm gonna make you all crazy having to watch all the movement, but I'm just gonna draw a little line down on my pot and bring that out onto the, whoa, insanity, insanity. I'm trying to see what I'm showing you. There we go. Yep, there's the line. Okay, then when I pull this, if I still need to trim it more, I can line that right back up and know that I'm right back on center. Oops, a little closer. There, now I should be right back on center, right? Look at that. Well, pretty close. Okay, so we talked a little bit about compression with these bowls, right? And Simon Levin says that there are 3 different ways to prevent S-cracking, and one of them is compression. That's the one that I generally have gone with over the years. That said, I do get S-cracks every once in a while, so it's not a perfect system, but I don't know that one's quite been found yet. Hold on. Excuse me. But so compression-wise, I take just kind of my middle finger, I put it on the inside of the pot, put a finger on the center of the foot, and I just give a little squeeze. Not a hard squeeze, just a little squeeze, and that gives a little bit of compression that should align those molecules again. Please don't forget to sign these, because the little off the hump bowls look even more like each other than your larger bowls from Clay One. So you want to be sure that you get those signed while they're nicely leather hard. So this is in great leather hard shape. It's got a nice little foot on there. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope I see you in here. Take care. Bye-bye.